Installing vinyl plank flooring as a beginner can be overwhelming. We'll show you what to expect to make your DIY project as easy as possible.
Stay to the end to see a cost breakdown.
Hey guys, we'd love to connect with you on Instagram at diypowercouple.
In preparation for this DIY, we took up the carpet and underpad. Now we're ready for the first step, prepping the subfloor.
It's so important that your subfloor is clean, dry, and level.
We decided to install Procore Plus vinyl plank flooring that you can easily find at Lowe's.
These planks have a tongue and groove interlocking mechanism. Their wood look and feel is nice, and they have an underpad attached for a quieter sound. These planks were a perfect option for our son's room because they are so durable and easy to maintain. Plus, they're scratch and stain resistant.
The next step is to calculate the square footage of the room, then add 10% more for extra planks. Believe us, you'll need them for mistakes. Now you can determine how many boxes of vinyl plank flooring tiles you need. For our room, we used 7 boxes.
We then chose a premium 1.5mm underlayment to give our concrete subfloor a required moisture barrier. We picked up 2 boxes and some underlayment tape.
The nice thing is that you can purchase all of your vinyl flooring installation tools in one place. Here's a supply list to help you. Remember, renting power tools is an option if you don't have them.
We're ready to lay down the underlayment. Guys, this one costs a little more for premium, but it is very beginner DIY friendly. You simply unfold it, cut it to fit, and tape the seams.
Our little helper really enjoyed how comfortable it felt.
Yes, she did, and we were all surprised that there was no more echo in the room.
In our opinion, this next step is the most important, and that is to plan your installation.
Really get a feel for your room. Here's what we did.
So our plan is to start with the hardest part of the room, and the hardest part of the room for us is going to be the closet area.
So now we need to figure out how many planks we're going to have through the width of the room, and then to see what our first cut is going to be. We decided to lay our planks parallel to the sunlight coming from the window. The great thing is you can choose whichever direction you like.
Connecting the planks across the floor gave us our midpoint and a feel for the spacing of both the start and the end rows. The goal of laying vinyl plank flooring is to make the first and last row of planks balance in how wide they are.
We taped spacers around the baseboards to create an expansion gap for the planks and to prevent them from shifting during install.
Now it's time to install your first row of planks. This can be the most challenging, especially if you start on the side with a threshold and closet door jambs like we did.
But we wanted to get the hard part out of the way. We got lucky that we were able to push the first plank underneath the transition.
Next, we used a sample piece to guide the oscillating tool while cutting under the door jambs. This power tool definitely helps DIYers give the install a nice clean look. We've also tried cutting with a handsaw, but the oscillator is much easier and faster.
Our planning revealed that we should cut 2 inches off the width of the planks in the first and last row. We freehanded and cut out notches in one plank to fit around the door jambs. Guys, for us, this was the hardest, most difficult plank to cut and install.
After scoring the notch with a utility knife, we used pliers to snap off the piece. Extra planks come in handy in these situations because you may have to measure and cut again. This plank had to connect with the first plank, slide under 2 door jambs, and cover the entire threshold.
We had to keep the row straight so the last plank in the row will connect. This plank required an end cut, so we flipped it around to mark it. We do this so we don't cut off the wrong end. A utility knife and straight edge is all you need to score and snap the short end cuts of these vinyl planks.
We should have laid it down and bent it instead of snapping it on our knees. We'll show you why coming up. Keep all of the cut pieces because you can use them to start your next row.
We flipped the plank back around to check the spacing because it was time for a long cut. We used the circular saw to cut 2 inches off the width. This was the easiest way for us to cut a clean straight line. You can use a utility knife and straight edge, but it's so much harder.
Once the plank was in, we used a sample piece and rubber mallet to tap the seam together, and we were done with the first row.
These next 3 rows are where you'll find your flow and learn from any beginner mistakes.
For example, the plank that we snapped with our knee is the start of this row. However, the corner groove is cracked because of how we snapped it. The tongue and grooves of these planks are delicate, so you want to handle them with care. Thankfully, we were still able to interlock the next plank. Adding weights helped us keep the rows straight.
The next row started with a cut piece whose seam was at least 8 inches apart from the previous row. At this point, you're getting familiar with how the planks interlock. Even if you have a piece that you damaged while cutting, you can still use it on another row. We used this one at the end of a row that needed a smaller plank. We simply cut the damaged end part off and made it useful again.
Hey guys, if you're getting value out of this, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. We appreciate it.
Row 4 went smoothly, and we continued to select planks from different boxes to create a more natural look. On row 5, we encountered a different challenge. A small piece of groove was missing. With a little more effort, the plank still interlocked.
We flipped over a piece of plank to protect the tongue and groove while we tightened the joints. This was done by gently tapping the pull bar with a mallet. You can see how the seam tightened and aligned to prepare for the next row.
By now you have overcome beginner DIY challenges, and it's now time to lay the rest of your planks.
Here's a couple of tips. You could use a box of planks as a weight, or you can stand on them to keep the rows straight. To maintain a clean installation area, you can use a mini vac to suck up all the debris from previously cut planks.
We took a little break after we finished the first 3 boxes.
We continued installing our vinyl plank flooring, and we were prepared for the last row. From the plan, we knew it was time to mark and cut 2 inches off the last row. In reality, it was a little less, but the install still looked balanced.
Now we'll move on over to the closet. The main difference in here was how we connected the planks. The tongue side of the plank was now exposed, so we sort of slid the planks underneath to connect. Once all the planks were installed, we tightened the joints and removed the spacers.
The 7th step is replace or add your baseboards and trim. We kept our baseboards on, and we added new quarter round trim molding by gluing the quarter round to our baseboards and not the vinyl plank flooring. Seeing our DIY project come together boosted our confidence and made us feel good.
We were so pleased at how this new flooring updated the look of our son's bedroom. We especially love the color and oak wood look of these planks. This was our first time installing ProCore Plus vinyl plank flooring, and you see what a DIYer can do. We went through this entire DIY install together, and with these 7 steps, you can DIY too.
If you need more encouragement, you can find a complete flooring playlist in the description below. Now you can give your living space a fresh new look and go from carpet to vinyl plank flooring.
Here's a cost estimate for this vinyl plank installation project.
Here are some tips for your first time installing vinyl plank flooring so you can avoid the mistakes we made.
Stay to the end to check out some of our pros and cons.
Home improvement.
With love. Welcome to our channel.
We're Darius and Agula Grant of DIY Power Couple.
In this video, we'll show you a laundry room makeover that transformed old flooring to new interlocking vinyl planks.
Click the link in the description to see how we also installed an accent wall with peel and stick tile to complete the update. So let's get into it.
First, we removed all appliances and floor trim.
A pry bar and hammer were used to remove the quarter round. For this DIY, we kept the existing baseboards and old flooring.
Each section of the laundry room was carefully measured and drawn on a diagram. We multiplied the longest length of the room by the width to calculate the square footage.
Each box of planks shows its square footage to help determine how many boxes are needed. Remember to get a few extra planks. Believe us, you'll need it.
Links for the tools are in the description below. We started on the left side of the room due to the tongue and groove interlocking design of the planks.
Our first challenge was cutting the door jambs.
Installing a floating floor is nice because there's no nailing or gluing and it's easy to repair or replace.
Check your layout to avoid sliver planks. We'll show you what we did later.
This laundry room has 2 door openings, so there were 4 door jambs that we needed to fit the planks under.
We tried this step without a power tool, but our handsaw didn't cut all the way in for us. We found out a box cutter doesn't work either.
We eventually picked up this cordless oscillating tool and it made the task so much easier.
We used a piece of flooring under the oscillator to cut the door jamb. Then we used the 5-in-1 tool to pull out chipped wood pieces. This allowed the new flooring to easily slide under the door jamb for a cleaner look.
We did this for all 4 door jambs.
Next, we taped spacers to the baseboards to create expansion gaps.
These gaps allow vinyl plank flooring to expand and contract when there are temperature and humidity changes. This is very important in a laundry room area to prevent planks from buckling over time.
The first row of planks is very important to keep straight regardless if the wall is straight or not. We heard the planks click together, but that didn't mean they were aligned correctly.
We gently used a rubber mallet to engage the interlocking mechanism. We realized early that we had to double check the alignment of our seams.
The interlocking mechanism has to be aligned for the next row to securely lock in place.
It can be quickly fixed by reattaching the plank.
We have to tell you guys that for us, getting the first row of planks down was hard.
We had to be patient with this first time DIY project because we were literally learning as we went along. Most of our mistakes were made on the first row.
We learned that we had to reverse the plank in order to draw the line for our cuts. This way the interlocking side would be at the seam.
We also learned the hard way that you may not want to break the planks while kneeling down.
Yeah, we damaged a few of them because of my Herculean strength.
We believe beginners should always have extra planks. Here's a close-up of the interlocking design of this flooring.
Let's see if we did better the second time around.
It hit the, you keep hitting the.
Yeah.
That was so easy. Did you help me?
So we eventually learned how to break the planks and got the last piece in.
We used a pull bar at the end of the row to close any gaps between the planks. The second row was started with a shorter plank to stagger the seams. Installing the last plank for this row went much smoother.
We also learned how to keep debris out of the grooves so that the planks would fit securely. We continued to rotate the plank patterns by pulling them from various boxes. With each row, we both gained confidence in how to score, cut, and lay the planks.
It was important to remember not to damage the tongue and grooves during the flooring installation. We were installing over existing tile that acted as our clean and level subfloor. With these planks, an underlayment was not needed.
As we worked together, we began to see the new floor take shape. This time, the pry bar was used to pull the seams of 2 planks together.
We now had to face the challenge to cut a sliver plank around the corner. In hindsight, we could have shortened the width of our first row of planks to create more space on this side.
We used a L-shaped ruler to trace and score a small piece of plank.
Scoring and cutting a small piece was definitely harder than expected, and something you want to avoid if possible.
This took us a couple of tries, but we finally got the planks to all fit together.
Thankfully, when we add the trim, it will cover the corner. We had to make another cut at the end of a plank to fit around the other corner. This worked out fine, but a planned adjustment to the length of the first plank in this row could have given us more plank to fit around the corner.
We also had our first lengthwise plank cut. It's possible but difficult to score a long straight line with a box cutter. We tried. It can be done in a small space like this with minimal lengthwise cuts. However, we chose to use a circular saw with a carbide blade and laser to make it a little easier on us. We would highly suggest a circular saw power tool if you're tackling larger projects.
We ended up with another tiny cut by the door jamb in that same row. We feel this could have been prevented with better planning of the length of that first starter plank. If you have a row that runs into corners and requires lengthwise cuts, take your time planning out the layout of your planks of that row before you begin.
Another tip, when using a pull bar, use a spare piece of plank as a buffer so you won't accidentally damage the fragile interlocking grooves. We only had a few more lengthwise cuts, so our circular saw came in handy.
We were so happy to install this plank because that meant we were ready to add the waterproof quarter-round molding.
A miter box and saw is a great beginner tool for making angled cuts on quarter-round molding. Instead of using nails, we used all-purpose construction adhesive to glue the molding to the baseboard. We didn't want to glue it to the planks, so a future floor replacement would be easier.
Even with our mistakes, we were so proud of our first time installing vinyl plank flooring as a part of our small laundry room makeover DIY. This flooring turned out amazing.
And we want to know in the comments, would you install vinyl plank flooring in your home? How to install vinyl plank flooring in a closet. Hey guys, we're Darius and Akila of DIY Power Couple.
Before laying the vinyl plank flooring, we pulled up the old carpet and underpad.
We also installed a thermal insulated underlayment that will help keep the floor warm and free of moisture from the concrete subfloor.
We used a speed square to measure the first row of planks.
Then we used an oscillator and a sample piece of plank flooring to cut under the door jambs. If you're new to flooring, this is a great way to get that professional look, and it minimizes the gap between your planks and the door jamb. We found out that part of this door jamb was cut a little higher when the carpet was installed.
We took about 2 inches off each corner of the threshold plank to keep it in line with the first one. Using one full plank for the opening gave the appearance of a continual pattern without the need for a transition.
This plank had several special cuts. With a sharp utility knife, we scored it, but since it was a little tough to break, we used pliers for the hard to remove piece.
This plank fit nicely under both door jambs.
Nice.
We also notched out the first plank inside the closet. Our metal L-shaped ruler helped with cutting straight lines. As you can see, for this closet install, the tongue side of the plank is exposed. This required us to slide the groove side of the connecting plank underneath.
Now your plank looks like a full plank going around the wall. Here's a close-up look at the tongue and groove interlocking mechanism. We want to encourage you and let you know that you can do it. As you can see, we did the same thing to the right side of the closet. Gently fold down the plank to connect them. To protect the flooring, we always use a spare piece when hammering with a mallet. Hey guys, if you're getting value out of this video, go ahead and hit that like button and share it with a friend. We appreciate it. To see more of our flooring videos, click the Vinyl Floor playlist link in the description below.
The last row is a little different. We needed to cut it lengthwise to fit, so we flipped the plank over and marked it on the back so you could see it on the blue underpad.
We used our circular saw to cut the plank pad side up and gently placed it in the left corner. The last row should touch the spacers. This creates an expansion gap that prevents the floor from buckling up during various changes in temperatures.
One reason we installed vinyl plank flooring in the closet is because it's much easier to clean and maintain than carpet.
Our walls are not 100% straight, so we measured and cut each plank separately to create a custom fit. Here's the tip. Laying out the planks beforehand will let you know how many cuts you'll need to do.
Now it's time to install the quarter round trim molding. Waterproof quarter round is recommended for water resistant floors because it helps to provide a full coverage waterproofing system. It also will not rot, warp, or crack.
We used a miter box and saw to cut them to their specific sizes. After we got the right fit, we used a strong construction adhesive to press them against the wall. This works best if you do not glue the quarter round trim to the vinyl plank flooring. Gluing them to the floor will hurt the floor's ability to expand correctly. We wipe the top edge to fill in the gaps between the baseboard and the quarter round. Pushing the quarter round against the baseboard while simultaneously pushing it down towards the vinyl planks gives it the appearance that it's nailed to the floor. Beginner DIYers and those who don't have a lot of tools can easily use this inexpensive technique to change the look of their closet. Correctly installed vinyl plank floors can last from 5 to 25 years, especially if they're well maintained. So flooring in a low traffic small closet like this one should last for many years. Setting the last piece of quarter round gave us a sense of accomplishment, and it will do the same for you. Now you know how to install vinyl plank flooring in a closet, and with all the special cuts it takes to make it happen, we want you to remember that you can DIY too, and we'll see you in the next video. DIY Power Couple YouTube channel is your source to help you unleash your inner DIY power.